Today I'm out in Weston, Florida to upgrade another irrigation system to a smart irrigation system, and we're going to do that by upgrading an indexing valve to 4 electronic valves, Irritrol 205 TFs, threaded valves. And then we're going to go over here to this mechanical timer, and we're going to replace it with a Hunter HPC controller to control those valves. Let me show you what we're looking at right now. Here we have a typical Florida system with a pump and an indexing valve. There are a few things here that are not typical, and that would be the drainage elbow right here and the check valve on the discharge. Usually the check valve is found on the intake line, and if this was a well system, the check valve would be found probably right about there. But since this is a canal system, we usually install the check valve at the bank right next to the canal on the suction line. That is where we'll be moving the check valve out there, and we will be replumbing this entire thing, as I said, with electronic valves that will be installed in a valve box in the ground. I don't have my tripod today, so I won't be able to show you the process of me doing this step by step, but I'll check in from time to time to explain exactly what it is I'm doing. The first order of business will be digging a hole right here, and that's because we're going to install the valves underground in a valve box in this location. And then from there, we'll have to run a wire all the way over to the controller that will be over there. Wow, what a hole. Now that we've got this excavated, we can cut out the plumbing of the indexing valve to the pump here, and we're also going to cut out the intake line so we can replumb all of that, which is why I have it dug down to the 90. We can cut the pipe that's coming from the canal and then put a new 90 on and rebuild this up to the pump with all fresh parts. In addition to that, we're going to cut this pipe, take everything off the top of the pump, take the indexing valve out, and rebuild up with a new fitting that looks like that, and then go right back down into the ground over to the valves that will be on the other side of this gas exhaust line. Yep, that's a freaking gas line. I had to dig around that the whole time excavating this, and now that I got it all out of my way, I'm going to go ahead and install the valves right over there. All right, and this is what it looks like with everything cut out of my way, with the exception of those two parts connected to the pump, which is the very next thing I'm going to remove and then replace with new fittings and pipe and reconnect it to that suction line. It turns out there is a check valve out by the bank, and proof of that can be seen in the water sitting in the pipe. The additional check valve was totally unnecessary. We're not going to be reinstalling it. We're just going to reconnect the intake line to the pump and then replumb everything out of the discharge for our new valves that I was going to place here until I saw the gas line, so I opened my hole a little bit bigger. They're going to go right here. That gas line is an exhaust gas line off of that meter right there, and it exhausts behind me, behind those buckets right there. I'm not entirely worried about blowing anything up here, but I'm definitely working around that line as if it was live. All right, let me get on to the next part of this. With the exception of that hose bib, we're all plumbed in here. We've got our 4 new valves in. Our main line is running right up to these valves here. We installed the new fitting for the easy flow system that we still need to connect the little hoses to. And all that's left to do here is backfill the hole. And it's raining out. I want to get this hole backfilled before it fills up with water. Check back in a second. This is what it looks like when it's finished. Unfortunately, it's the next day, and I got rained out yesterday, and we're continuing to be rained out. I just went ahead and wired up all of the valves, except if I open that up, all that you're going to see inside of there is mud, because it's full of water, because it's raining outside. We'll go ahead and get the controller programmed and the rain sensor installed, because the one that they have up there, that one's never going to work.